Mood Talk, Mood TV. It's your boy Cyrus here. I'm here with Dondre. I'm here with S1A1. You know the mood. Today's topic is the youth. Are they lost or did the older generation fail them? Gentlemen, which one of you would like to go first?
I'll go first. I just want to let y'all know we starting this little Zoom meeting thing because, time to time, we may be in different places, and this just is our way of still getting our message out to people who may want to hear it. So as far as the topic goes, is the youth, say it again, is the youth what?
The youth, are they lost or did the older generation fail them?
I feel mixed on this topic. It could be because when we brought up the topic earlier, I kind of thought about, I'm like, is it different for certain people? And I feel like it's different for different demographics. And I also feel like it's different for your scenario, like what you grew up in and how you grew up. So depending on like if you grew up, in a rough scenario, if you grew up with no guidance, if you grew up with no grandparents, no older youth, no older, people in your family, you may grow up different, or that topic may actually hit you in a certain way. So for me, I feel like it all depends on the person. But as a majority, if I were to just say, like, if I were to put a majority on it, like, is the majority of the youth shamed, or is the majority of the youth scarred or cursed or whatever? But I would say, yeah. I would say if it was a majority, I would say, yeah, because, bro, I don't feel like the OGs or like old heads now really take pride in even looking after the youth. Like, I don't think like it's looked at as cool how it used to be. Like, oh, yo, that's my OG, or a OG giving game. Like, that used to be looked at as like a cool thing. But now it's like, yes, it is what it is. Like, if you still on that, you still on that. If not, who cares? Like, these young boys gonna do what they want. These youngins they ain't gonna listen anyway. I feel like that's the mentality, but that's my take on it.
Facts.
True. Okay. Sponsored by Mood TV, sponsored by Free Mentality, Free Mind, sponsored by S1A1 Marketing. We're here. Are the youth lost, or did the older generation fail us? So that's a good question. That's a good topic. Another question is, was the older generation lost as well? Are we in a cycle? Okay, so that's just questions towards the topic. But to answer the topic and to get on the topic, I would say it's a little bit of both, because you got to look at history to look at where you're going, or to look at where you've been, or whatever it is. And you can already see, I feel like I agree with S1A1 so hardly, because it's not looked at right now as it was looked at back in the day, how, yo, that's my family, that's my son, that's my daughter, that's my whatever, I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to like try to give them a lot more so now. It's just like people get thrown out like they like fish in the water, and it's really like that. You get thrown out there and it's like, hey, sink or swim. So at the same time, we're still lost too, because we've been lost for so long. And if you can read between the lines that I'm saying here, you obviously understand a little bit, because I'm not so hardly trying to put it on the older generation, because they made mistakes just like we making mistakes right now. So, who are we to persecute them for their mistakes? Only the Most High can do that. And at the end of the day, we still in the same position. It's cycles. So yes, the youth are lost. And in some ways, yes, the older generation did fail some of us, but you got to understand where you're at in reality, and in whatever time frame you're, whatever it is, you got to understand where you're at and what to do to try to break cycles and get out of it. You get me? So with that topic, it can go so many ways, because just like we started, I asked two questions on that. Was the older generation lost themselves? Get me? So I feel like, it's 2 or 2. So I'm not going to bang on my older people too much, but I am going to hold them accountable for certain things that, we could have done better. But hey, at the same time, he was lost too, bro. It was hard for you too. So sponsored by Mood TV, sponsored by Free Entertainment, Free Life, Free everything, Free Mindset, sponsored by S1A1. You already know the purpose. S1A1 Marketing, you already know Move.
So with me, a few things come to mind. The words bravery and courage come to mind. You know, bravery and courage is not that you do things because you're not afraid that makes you brave or courageous. It's like when you are afraid and you still do it, that's what makes you brave and courageous. And I feel like right now we are the OGs. And although some things we don't know, it becomes like a fear of the unknown, we still try to make strides to be those OGs and shine a light and give some perspective and give some guidance to the youth. Because at the same time, we are still youth. Dre always said, he said, I'm the young, oh, what'd you say?
Oh, okay. I shaded that too. And that's shout out to Cole. It's little bro and big bro all at the same time. Shout out to J. Cole World, that's his bar.
That's how I kind of feel about us in this position right now. We're like little bro and big bro at the same time, because as we're doing this, we're learning, but I feel like our intentions are pure. We have a reason to be doing this because we see the way society is going, and not everybody is just down for the way it's leading out. And another thing is like, that came to mind, it's like babies raising babies. So he said, was the OGs misled themselves? And it is kind of like that, because if you didn't have guidance, how can you then lend a hand or guidance to someone younger than you? It's kind of like, it's unfair. And it's not about persecuting them or nothing like that, but the question still remains, are the youth lost, or did the older generation fail them? And it's both. It's both.
Okay.
I'll say one last thing. I feel like for me, it's kind of annoying, but it always comes down to like the TV and entertainment. And like, I feel like a lot of our being lost is that we're watching things that seem more entertaining than anybody who's giving you some solid guidance. If it's not flashy, or if it doesn't sparkle or glitz or flash, like I said, it doesn't capture the youth's attention. And because they're so good with, and that's why, Moon TV, we got our own like podcast, we got our own like form of media where we're coming in and we're doing things where it's like, hey, now we have your attention, but what we're feeding you is something of substance. What we're feeding you is something that actually like can guide you in a good manner versus just throwing you out to the wolves or throwing you out to the cesspool and letting you rot. We ain't trying to see nobody rot. We're trying to see everybody flourish. And that's why we out here doing what we're doing. So we can say at least we put our best foot forward and trying to lead the youth and trying to lead our peers to something better. Like, you feel me?
Really, that's real. And just to piggyback off of that, and my last take on this too is, we are the future. They are the future. So at this point, we just got to take matters into our own hands. And I always say, whatever advice, I always try to tell myself this is crazy. Whatever advice you're going to give someone or say to someone, do it yourself, take it yourself and try to do it yourself, and really the reason I tell myself that is because I try to give advice and I try to, tell the right thing and be pure in all intentions. So in that, I feel like we just got to continue and just try to spread the truth and just really like, point a light on subjects that people maybe not want to talk about. So we'll talk, we'll TV, the mood.
What's the mood, man? What's the mood?
S1A1, let's start it off with some closing statements, closing remarks.
You went mute.
Who, me?
You good now, I think.
But yeah, while he's figuring out his mic situation.
Y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Back on.
Yeah, I was saying like y'all, Dre was saying, at this point, now that we talked about how we felt and how the OGs used to be, or however the scenario was, now we got to talk about like what we could do or how we could change that. And I feel like like Dre said, with that J. Cole bar, we feel like we the big and little brother. Like that shit is real. Like, and we gotta treat it as such. And I was watching that interview I was telling you I was watching earlier, just about like wealth and acquiring wealth and shit. One thing he said in there that a lot of the elites do, a lot of people who make money across the world, they always are like, they're always an apprentice. They always have an apprentice, and they're always an apprentice. So if you are always in that state your whole life, if you always have an apprentice, meaning somebody you can mentor, you could coach, you could tell them, give them game that you got as you giving back. And then you're also always learning from somebody. You always have a big bro. You always have somebody who teaching you something. You always have somebody who you want to be in that spot. You'll always keep growing. Like you always be at a good spot. Like, so that's why I feel like we got to be at a spot where we are learning for ourselves so that we could also give back to little bro and be positive role models.
Yes, sir.
And you answered my question. I knew why it was important to have a mentor, but why is it important to have an apprentice?
I feel like I was saying a little bit, like it's giving back. Like when you have, like the way I feel about basketball, my basketball career is at its end mark. Like I've done a lot with my basketball career. There's a young boy out there right now starting from where I started from, like right now today. So if I could give him game about the shit I did all the way through college, before college, high school, like if I could give him game on shit that I did, that's me giving back to the game. That's me giving back to basketball, because somebody may have not taught me that, or somebody may not have told me that. I may have to learn that myself. Like, so that's me. You giving back to a mentee or somebody who's under you, who's yearning to learn. That's your way of giving back to the game and whatever game or cycle you playing in.
You gonna let them peek into your bag? That's one.
Always, bro. I'm always teaching. I'm always teaching niggas, bro.
And just to say something towards that too is like, that's great. If your intentions are always pure like that, in the cycle that you continue like that, like it's always gonna, something is always gonna flourish out of that. You feel me? So
right.
One thing that I always tell my younger siblings and people who are younger than me, who I try to, give a little bit of game to, I always tell them, yo, just use me as a cheat code. And I use that analogy to say that there's certain people in life that you have to, as an individual and a human, you have to look at them. And sometimes I'm gonna give some game right now. Sometimes you got to look at everything they've been through and learn from all of their wins and all of their losses. And you could literally learn from experience, not even doing it, but just watching the experience. Like that's the type of beings that we are. We could literally watch an experience and feel it. You ever watch TV and see something so sad, and you'd be like, or you see them hit the game-winning shot in whatever documentary, and Michael Jordan Last Dance, and you're like, like there's a feeling, you feel me? So you could learn so much, and you could continually learn throughout your whole life just by keeping these tangible emotions, feelings, or whatever you want to call it. You could learn and continuously learn, and then continuously give back to the young. Because that's the cycle. That's the cycle of, pureness, pure intentions. And I feel like that's a purpose. That's one of the purposes of Mood TV and Mood in general, is just to, give back and really just shine light, help out.
Big fact.
You made me just think about two things. I think it's a quote. It's like 10-minute conversation with somebody of worth is worth more than like reading 10 books. And then, for something in the future, we should do that. We should find mentors and bring them onto Mood and kind of just pick their brain, like people of worth.
Big fact.
And provide,
that's
they wouldn't put themselves out there. We, graciously ask them for their time and their presence to come and, be on the podcast and provide our viewership with some good information.
Drop some gems, yeah. But you already know, so yeah, man, here with S1A1 Marketing, you know it. Cyrus L, the 13th, you already know. Dre, we here, free mind, free mentality, Mood TV, Mood Talk.